Crate training is when you teach your dog to enter a crate on command and stay there until released. The dog should remain calm while inside the crate and be without attention-seeking behaviors such as barking, whining, or scratching at the bars. The crate should never be used as a punishment and should be seen as a safe place for the dog to be. Crate training is useful for a variety of reasons. You can use the crate to help manage behavioral or training problems such as separation anxiety, resource guarding, and help build independence and structure skills. The crate can be used for safety reasons as well, such as a dog that has destructive chewing tendencies, pica, aggression towards other household animals, or while you have company. Before starting your training session, make sure you're in a quiet environment free of distractions and have treats and toys that you use for rewarding your dog on hand. The first step to making your dog comfortable with anything new or scary is positive interactions and desensitization to the environment or object. We achieve this by rewarding the dog for being near or in the crate with treats, toys, verbal, or physical praise. Use whatever reward system your dog prefers. Open the crate door and toss a treat inside. If your dog steps in to get the treat, mark the behavior with whichever marking word you use, like yes or good, and praise them. It's okay if the dog immediately steps back out. You want to go slowly with this to make sure the crate doesn't become a place the dog is fearful of. Do the same with a toy if that's what they prefer. If your dog is used to receiving mental stimulation toys, such as licky mats, frozen Kongs, or snuffle mats, you can leave the crate doors open and give the dog their mental stim in there. Once your dog is comfortable going in and out of the crate to retrieve toys or treats, gently and quietly close the door behind them when their whole body is inside. Close the door for only a moment before you open it back up and release the dog with their release cue, such as free or break. Reward them enthusiastically for remaining calm in the crate. Start using your kennel or crate command while luring the dog inside. Before you lure them in, say crate, and then toss a treat or toy inside. If the dog is going in on command, make sure you mark the behavior with your mark cue so they know that that's what you're asking them to do. Always make sure you're releasing the dog with a release cue, since you'll need them to understand they cannot just leave the crate whenever they want. This will make it significantly easier to work on crate boundaries later on. Once the dog has a basic understanding of the crate cue, you can start closing the door behind them for longer periods of time, such as 5 seconds instead of 2. If the dog begins whining, barking, or scratching, do not release them from the crate or talk to them in a baby voice to soothe them. Ignore the behavior, and once they are quiet, turn back towards the dog and release them from the crate with their release cue and open the door. Opening the door and releasing the dog while they are showing those attention-seeking behaviors create the pattern of the dog barking or howling to get out of the crate, since they think that's how they have to act to be released. This becomes hard to break, and it is not fun to deal with. Once you've built up to the dog being able to spend 30 seconds in the crate without trying to break out or bark, begin going out of sight for 3 to 5 seconds at a time. If the dog cannot handle this, tailor this to them and only step out of sight for a single second before coming back into sight. Build up the time you can be out of the dog's view until they are able to remain quiet and calm for 5 minutes, and then start focusing more on building your dog's kennel boundaries. We recommend the dog eats their meals in the crate to help associate the crate with positive things, as well as helping to build the dog's duration. You want your dog to be able to respect any boundary you set, invisible or not. For my dogs, the crate has an invisible boundary that they cannot pass through without release, even if the door is open. I will feed my dogs their meals in their crate without closing the door, and they will not leave it until told they can. Open the door and take a step back. If the dog is lunging to get out of the crate, close the door quickly and do not allow them to pass through. They may bump their head into the door, but that's okay. Continue to close the door into the dog until they learn the point is not to burst through, but rather to wait until released. You may have to do this multiple times before the dog understands. Once you can open the door without the dog bursting out, release them and praise them for waiting. Practice building this up to a point where you can open the door, walk a few steps away with your back to the dog, and then release them again. This may take a lot of time, possibly even a couple of weeks. If kennel boundaries seem to be something your dog is significantly struggling with, you may have to take some time to work on independence building. We will have a video out on this soon. If your dog is struggling with crate anxiety, it may mean you've improperly crate trained or the dog has an underlying issue like separation anxiety. I highly recommend reading our separation anxiety protocol that is linked in the description, as it contains a bunch of information on using the crate to help deal with separation anxiety, as well as how to manage or treat separation anxiety in general. If your dog was abused using a crate, we highly recommend reaching out to a professional trainer to get help with crate training. Thank you for watching, and we hope this helps. Feel free to reach out to us via Instagram, email, Facebook, or text to set up a virtual or in-person session for us to answer your questions/concerns.